Longtime Wingate officer, military veteran, and husband. He's a father of 5. He's been battling an aggressive brain tumor. He recently completed chemo and surgeries, and just days after receiving medical clearance to return, he got a letter of termination. Now that letter is set to start on the day before he is expected to resume duty. This makes a lot of folks in this community upset. All this as the town is moving forward with its plans to have the Union County Sheriff's Office handle security here in the town.
Happening today, Charlotte Mayor Liles is expected to announce her campaign for a 5th term. Liles says she wants to keep pushing forward projects like the new transit plan and expanding affordable housing.
Gastonia city officials voted overnight on what they say is a compromise to the city's cooling station. The outdoor site will remain open from 10 to 7 on days when temperatures exceed 90. People have access to tents, misting fans, tables, and chairs. However, the city could still open an indoor cooling station on days temps go over 95. They're going to revisit the issue in August.
And Charlotte's soccer scene is about to get even bigger. Later this morning, Major League Soccer and city leaders are expected to announce that Charlotte will host the 2026 MLS All-Star game. The announcement is set for 10:15 this morning. You can watch it live on WCNC+.
And that accident on I-85 North has since been cleared, so now we just have our typical slowdown. Still following this, though, a blocked road on East 4th Street between Queens and Charlottetown. Crews are continuing to fix power lines, so if you typically drive that way, just go ahead and take Elizabeth Ave instead. Chris?
Not much to say here. 93 to 97. It's hot, it's humid. Most days we'll have a peak heat index around 100 degrees. Most days we'll have a chance for a shower or thunderstorm. More so on Friday and Saturday this week, though.
All right, noted. Chris, thanks. A reminder, the news doesn't end here. We're live all day with breaking news, weather, and traffic.
We're streaming now on WCNC+. Download and watch for free. We'll see you in a few.
streaming live right now at 7 a.m. right here on WCNC+. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Caitlin Hagwood. Lisa has the day off. Taking a live look where we're drying off from yesterday's downpours for part of our area. Chris, we're experiencing a lot of heat, a lot of humidity. Those pop-up showers normal for this time of year. But what can we expect today?
More of the same. Pop-up showers and thunderstorms, high temperatures in the lower 90s. So at least we're not in the upper 90s yet. We'll be there before you know it. And we literally have our head in the clouds right here around Dallas. So oftentimes after you have some big rains, and not everyone saw it yesterday, but the atmosphere still kind of all mixes it together. That's why we're dealing with a lot of those low-hanging clouds. So from place to place, you are going to see some sunshine, but other times it is going to look a little bit cloudier. Also, it's a super saturated right now, and that's just a meteorological way of saying, yeah, it's pretty sticky to begin the day, where some areas you can actually physically see the moisture if you're looking into the light. And 9-mile visibility is what we have around Charlotte. We did have a lot worse scenario here for the fog. Up in Jefferson, it was down below a mile at one point. Well, fog-wise, we are good to go. So just dealing with some low-hanging clouds for the near term. No real big difference as far as our actual temperature to the feels like temperature. That will change, though. A little bit later on, I think we're going to spike up to around 100 degrees, feeling like 100 by about 4 p.m. and then as much as 101, I think, across the area. However, this is interesting. Not often do we have a cooler temperature over in Rockingham down to Chirac. The reason why is I think we're going to see a little bit more rain down here to the south and east. We are now officially on a heat streak up to 10 days. Today will be day number 10, guarantee it, up to 93 degrees. And this actually brought up an interesting question from my director, Rusty. What is the longest 90-degree stretch? Well, it's actually 33 days, amazingly, over a month that we were at 90 plus. That was back in 1993, one of the hottest summers that we had on record. 2007, we hit 32 days. But what's interesting, today's day number 10, and looking at the long-range forecast, we're pretty much rocking the mid-90s. There's no real big relief in sight. Now, this could be completely busted if we get a tropical system or some other low kind of sneaks in. So this isn't a guarantee, but this is a real good chance that we're going to get back to the top 10 list. We already hit a 17-day stretch. We dropped down to 86 and restarted a new one. That this could be one of the longest heat streaks that we've had of 90 plus, and we've been mainly in the mid 90s during that stretch. As far as our lows go, those are also well above normal. That's why we're already shaping up to be one of the hottest Julys on record. We're in the top 10 already through the halfway point. 75 degrees is your low tonight. That's the same low that we had yesterday and what we'll have this morning. 76, 75, 74 is what you can expect over the next 7 days. What about our rain chances? Whenever you see an isolated on here, that means 20%. Whenever you see scattered, that means anywhere from about 40 to 50% of the area is going to be impacted by showers and storms. I would really say that I think it's late Thursday through Thursday evening, and then Friday afternoon, and again on Saturday afternoon, are our best chance of rain in the near term. So if you have any weekend plans right now, I would plan for Sunday over Saturday. At least that's what it's looking like for your Wednesday, or at least at this point. Here's a look at our futurecast. We're already seeing signs of showers and storms over near Asheville. So if you live around Morganton up to Taylorsville, name some counties, Burke, Caldwell up to Alexander County, you're in this stretch. So we have a little trough. It's an area of lift. This is the best chance for a shower or storm in the near term for this morning, but then it also becomes scattered working your way through the afternoon. Meanwhile, just because it's a little bit more unstable here, we have a little bit more pop-up variety of storms down towards the south. This doesn't mean Charlotte's not going to see them. I think Charlotte really mid to late afternoon could have a passing shower or storm, but we don't have as many lingering into the evening. Chance for a stray shower overnight tonight, but at least for the afternoon, it's not as vast of a coverage as what we've seen in the last couple of days. Our futurecast tomorrow, though, is kind of a flip script. We're seeing storms develop in the mountains and the foothills late morning into the early afternoon. This will form a cluster of storms that looks like it's slowly going to work its way down the escarpment, down the foothills, and eventually into the Charlotte area and then the northern Piedmont. This will bring scattered rain to end the day. I think it's most widespread really from about 4 to 8 o'clock. There's also a chance that it's a little bit more unstable here, that we could have a few strong to severe storms. Oftentimes If there's a borderline strong storm to severe, it'll get what's called a special weather statement, showing that those wind gusts could be up to about 40 to 50 miles per hour. So a 70 forecast, 93 today. That's the cool spot, kind of. 95 degrees, then followed by 97, really mid to the upper 90s starting tomorrow, and that's the stretch heading in the middle of next week. So no big weather alerts here. And Majestic, you just ended a traffic alert not too long ago.
We had an accident on I-85 that was impacting northbound lanes for a little while. We had a big slowdown, but right now we're kind of just back to the norm. Let's start with this. It's a mild start to the day, 76 degrees. You can see cars are flowing nice and smoothly. A couple of things to break down. So first things first, we were following that I-85 backup. It has since cleared. It was out towards the Catawba River Bridge right there, but you can still see we do have our typical stop and go watch spots, but again, no more crashes right now to report at that area. We do have a blocked road though at East 4th Street. There was an accident yesterday and that car took down some power lines, so crews are continuing to fix that. Now, if you typically take that way, instead today, just try to take Elizabeth Ave to get right around it. In addition to that, following this wreck here, it's on the Brookshire Boulevard at Caldwell Williams Road. You can still see mainly green, so not too concerned about that one. You may slow you down maybe a couple of minutes. If you're coming in from South Carolina, good morning to you. I-77, we're starting to see pockets of oranges and reds. You can see it building, just meaning a lot of people are heading in the same direction. Much of the same out towards Matthews. I-485, the inner loop there. That's what I'm looking at for now. We'll have another check on our area roadways coming up in just a few minutes. Ben.
Majestic, thanks. Time now, 7:06 here on WCNC Plus. And this morning, folks in Wingate waking up without a police department. Overnight, town leaders voted to dissolve that department.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane joining us live with details on the impact for the community going forward. Good morning, Richard.
Hey, good morning to you, Kaylin. Good morning, Ben. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm standing outside the Wingate Police Department where last night town officials decided to get rid of it to save money. It's a cost-cutting move, they say, one that will save the town of Wingate some $300,000 in the first year alone. But there are some other issues that were also raised last night, particularly about one particular officer and what the department and the town did to him. Now that the town of Wingate's police department has disbanded, town officials are facing mounting pressure over what is a controversial termination that coincides with the shutdown of the police department. Officer Eric Talon, a longtime Wingate officer, military veteran, husband, father of 5, has been battling an aggressive brain tumor. He recently completed some surgeries as well as chemo, and just days after receiving a medical clearance to return to work, Talon also received a termination letter that was dated July the 7th. It notified him that his employment would end on July 31st. That was one day before he was expected to resume duty. The move comes as the time as Wingate town leaders voted 4-1 to shut down its police department and allow Union County's Sheriff's Office to take over its duties. That would save the town costs, reduce liability, and address the high turnover at the Wingate Police Department. The decision has sparked strong community backlash, with advocacy groups calling Talon's dismissal a symbol of deeper systematic issues within the department and the town's leadership.
I've never heard of anybody getting fired while they're getting treated for cancer. Chief of police there, I talked to him yesterday, and he said that they have offered the employees severance package, but he asked about Eric. They said that he didn't have a severance package. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance for them to do the right thing, and they should do it.
That's what a lot of people are talking about, that hope. As for what happens next, there has not been an exact date on when the police department will close. We can tell you that Sheriff Eddie Cathy of Union County says that he's already getting ready to assign 4 deputies to patrol this area. So far, he said since July, he's actually had deputies in the area making sure they can handle any problems in the area. They've handled about 21 calls, he said. That number should go up in the coming days and weeks. We'll keep you posted on everything that happens. But right now, we're right here in Union County. It's Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
Yeah, Richard, if you want to talk a little bit more about how the Union County Sheriff's Office is responding to all of this. I know, at least for some in the community, there was that concern of what safety would look like without having their police department there.
Yeah, now we don't know if this building will go away, but we can tell you that there will be officers, for the deputies, I should say, from the Union County's Sheriff's Office who will come into this area. So far, Eddie Cathy said he's going to assign 4 deputies to patrol Wingate to make sure that everything is under control. Of course, other officers can come over here if needed. Other deputies, I should say, can come into this area if needed and take care of any issues that may arise as far as crime prevention issues that happen or anything like that. Now, as far as officers who are working with the Wingate Police Department who were going to receive those severance packages, what next for them? They can apply to the Union County Sheriff's Office. Now, if they're hired, there's no guarantee that they'll be back in this community, but both Sheriff Cathy and community leaders say that they know that these officers who've been here have a relationship with the community. They want to keep a positive relationship with the town of Wingate. So those are just some of the issues that we know about. But as far as safety, they say folks here should continue to feel safe. It'll just be the Sheriff's Department instead of the Police Department protecting and serving in this area.
All right, a lot of nervous folks probably there in Wingate. All right, Richard Devane reporting live for us there outside the current police department, we should say. Richard, thank you.
Turning to a live look at the Capitol in Washington, where Senate lawmakers just narrowly advanced President Trump's plan to slash $9 billion in spending. The deal takes back money that was already approved, like funding for foreign aid and public broadcasting. The Senate will hold a final vote on the proposal later this week, but not before a long round of amendment voting later today. The House is also prepared to vote on a new Senate version before Friday's deadline. And this all comes as President Trump just announced a major investment in energy and artificial intelligence.
But as NBC's Alice Barr shows us, it could be overshadowed by the president's tariffs and the impact on inflation.
In a new snapshot of the U.S. economy, inflation picked up a notch in June, raising questions about the impact of President Trump's tariffs, beginning to slowly work their way through the economy. Concerns he downplayed.
Very slight. Essentially, they were exactly as anticipated, very low inflation. So what you should do is lower the rate. The Fed should lower the rate immediately.
The president ramping up his pressure on Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell to lower interest rates, decreasing the cost of borrowing money. Though any sign of rising prices will complicate the Fed's next moves as it works to drive inflation down below 2%.
What is important here is that the rate of change, how quickly prices are changing, is increasing.
The new report showing consumer prices rose 2.7% in June, 0.3% higher than in May, a slight reversal from the overall downward trend this year. In tariff-targeted sectors, the price of appliances, toys, furniture, and bedding all rose, while the cost of a new vehicle dropped.
What we're realizing is that it takes a lot longer for tariffs to sort of work their way through the economy, and we may still see again, inflation continue to rise.
President Trump rejects that idea, adamant tariffs are bringing in big money and pointing to new investments in the U.S., including in energy and AI, rolling out more news Tuesday in Pennsylvania.
More than $56 billion in new energy infrastructure and more than $36 billion in new data center projects.
President Trump betting big on his vision for the economy. Experts are warning about a new term, sneakflation, where companies find subtle ways to pass on their increased costs without changing the list price. Tactics like lowering the quality of the product, shortening return windows, and ending free shipping, all things to watch out for. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
7:13 right now. If your family is like so many out there and it relies on after-school programs, a new federal funding freeze could put them in jeopardy. The Department of Education pausing $165 million in grants here in North Carolina. While officials say programs like mentoring and homework help are now at risk, and parents could be left scrambling for childcare. Some 11,000 North Carolina students expected to be impacted by these after-school cuts. The North Carolina Association of Educators also warns that nearly 1,000 teachers could lose their jobs, especially in rural areas.
Losing one educator, losing 2 or 3 educators may be a greater impact overall on that school. But all of these freezes are impacting at the end of the day.
CMS is going to see the biggest cut at $12 million. And folks in South Carolina, this impacts you. Expect about a $90 million freeze there. If you want to find out how your district's going to be impacted, we have all that information right now inside the WCNC mobile app.
Saturday will mark the return of Festival Colombiano to the Charlotte area, but increased ice activity does have some folks weighing whether or not to go.
WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris spoke with organizers about how they plan to maintain the tradition around this year's festival.
Uptown Charlotte is preparing to celebrate Colombian culture with its third annual Festival Colombiano event this weekend. However, some community members, they expressed concerns about attendance amid recent immigration enforcement activity in the area.
The economic drive that we pour into the city is huge.
Organizers of Festival Colombiano are hopeful this weekend's festivities will bring out thousands of people to celebrate Colombian heritage and other Hispanic cultures.
We're wanting to highlight the fact that we are people from everywhere, that we put so much into the city and the growth of Charlotte.
But this year's festival comes amid heightened concerns about immigration enforcement in the Charlotte region. Carol Cortez, the organizer of the festival, says their festival is actually a chance to better connect with law enforcement.
So they have a chance to talk with the people, learn about the culture, and also let people know that, hey, we're all humans, we're all people.
I think on the other side of it, it's good to tear down a paradigm that all Latinos are illegal.
Sponsors like El Futuro es Latino stress possible attendees are vital for maintaining cultural connections and community unity.
We helping and we bring community together. We embrace our community to another community.
For more information on this year's festival, Colombiano, download the WCNC Charlotte mobile app and click on this story. In Uptown, I'm Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
New this morning, a number of people nursing injuries they suffered leaving Beyonce's concert in Atlanta. Authorities say an escalator malfunction at the train station injured several people following the Cowboy Carter concert. This was back on Monday night. According to MARTA, that's Atlanta's transit authority, 9 people were injured. Witnesses say it was chaos when the escalator just started running at a high rate of speed, throwing folks on top of each other.
Escalator went out and everyone tumbled out.
I started hearing screaming. Like loud bunches of screaming, and the people that were already on the platform with me, they started running, and I was like, okay, what's going on? There was a lady laying on the ground with her young daughter, an older lady that had to prop her leg up on the bench. Like, there were a lot of people that needed assistance after that.
That escalator due for inspection next month. The transit authority says it had more than 128,000 riders over the weekend. Close to 27,000 of them took MARTA on Monday.
North Carolina leaders are attempting to address the impacts of recent flooding across the state. Yesterday, the Army Corps of Engineers released more than 90,000 gallons of water from Jordan Lake, just west of Raleigh. Recent rain has caused the water to rise almost 13 feet. And with more rain on the way, engineers say opening the dam will help lower the risk of more flooding.
Well, good morning, everybody. So let's talk about flooding. Speaking of, we have a chance for a lot of rain down to the south, and we're borrowing some of the moisture from that. But I want to spend this time to talk about tropical wave Invest 93L. Yesterday, we were talking about a solid chance of this turning over to Tropical Storm Dexter. Well, things have changed. Right now, winds are at 30 miles per hour. So if we got a clear center of circulation and this thing moved back over into the Gulf, I think this thing could become a tropical depression within the next 12 hours. But that's the deal. Yesterday we were saying that there's only one thing that is going to weaken Dexter: land. I was mainly thinking landfall, but it looks like the weather gods had a different idea here. It looks like this is mainly going to be gliding right along the panhandle through the southern parts of Alabama and Mississippi before eventually making its way over to New Orleans and Louisiana. This is good news because if it goes out in the Atlantic, it's going to drink off those warmer waters, it'll circulate, it'll get stronger, and it'll even pick up more rain. So this is actually the best case scenario, but there's still a 40% chance for development, so we're not completely completely discounting it. Right now, if you look at really the middle of all these lines, these are spaghetti plots factoring in all the models. Most of them have it moving due west. However, there are some indications that it could move into the eastern side of Louisiana, right around New Orleans, and then push its way to the south before curving back up. If that is the case and scenario, that would allow for some brief development. So we're not discounting that this isn't going to become Tropical Depression number 4 or Tropical Storm Dexter. This is actually better that it's not going to be sitting out in the Gulf for the next couple of days, or else I think this could have been a really strong tropical storm. So here it is, really disorganized showers over the next day or so. By about, I'll move my head, 11 p.m., we're starting to see the western bounds of the circulation push into Louisiana. And then by tomorrow morning, it's right off the shoreline. Now, this is one example, and this is the one that would potentially turn this back over to a tropical depression. We're seeing the center of circulation right here, that it starts to twist its way back up and then move its way onshore on Friday. Now, if that comes to fruition, that means that we would be talking about Tropical Storm Dexter. And the way that the wind field looks like, you don't really have a wind field at this point, but then Thursday, if it just gets at least a half a day to a day out in the Gulf, I think pretty quickly it could be making landfall right here just southwest of Franklin. So not really a lot going on as far as that system goes. Still a chance for a low to a medium flood threat heading into your Friday and Saturday. As for us, because this is curving its way off towards the north, we are going to borrow some moisture from it. So sometimes you can have some secondary impacts that are associated with that. That's going to keep our dew points on the higher end, really that air you can wear heading through the weekend. That also ups our storm chances for your Saturday, along with some flood threats as well. Let's get over to Majestic, see if there's any traffic threats for the morning.
Good morning, everyone. Well, right now, things are actually looking better and better. It was quite busy about 30 minutes to an hour ago, but there's a live look. If you have places to be, you got things to do this morning. Doesn't seem to be anything that we're not used to at this point. 76 degrees. You can see quite a bit of cloud coverage out there. Want to break down a couple of things that I'm continuing to keep a close eye on. I-85 is where we did have a big backup. Right now, no more accidents, but just our typical backup is starting to build really from McAdamville west of that. And then as we zoom it on in, do want to let you know still, if you're just waking up and tuning in, that we do have a road that's blocked. It's on East 4th Street between Queens and Charlottetown as crews are continuing to fix some power lines. Yesterday there was a car wreck there that took down some power lines. So if your morning commute typically takes you there, instead this morning try to take Elizabeth Ave instead for your best alternate route. Another accident that's still ongoing is right here. I'm still noticing a lot of green though, so it means that traffic is still flowing just fine. It's at Berkshire Boulevard and Caldwell Williams Road. You can see it there. I'll continue to watch that to see if any colors do pop up, but probably the car's off to the side at this point. Otherwise, if you're coming in from South Carolina, good morning to you. We are starting to see that traffic really crawl on I-77 inbound. A lot of red starting to pop up there, but again, nothing we're not used to. And another area that we do have that slowdown is out towards Matthews on the inner loop of 485. We'll have another check on those roads coming up in just a few minutes, but Ben, this is what I'm looking at for now.
This is Larry Sprinkle. Time for today's tiny town. It's Lowry's in South Carolina, just north of the town of Chester. By the way, the population is 184, area is 3.16 square miles. Lowry's is known for the People's Free Library of South Carolina. It was built back in 1903. It's a one-story building, one room, and is now a museum. That's the People's Free Library. You'll find it in downtown Lowry, South Carolina. And Lowry's, by the way, is today's tiny town. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
Larry, thanks. Charlotte soccer scene about to get even bigger than it already is. Later this morning, Major League Soccer and city leaders are expected to announce that Charlotte will host the 2026 MLS All-Star game. The announcement set for 10:15 this morning. You can watch it right here on WCNC+. Well, Charlotte's population is growing, as you probably know, and it's growing fast. That means big changes to neighborhoods, traffic, and housing. In the next 15 years, the Queen City expected 400,000 new neighbors, 200,000 new jobs. To get ahead of that growth, city leaders have been creating what they call the 2040 plan. They've been working on it for years. The goal here to map out where people live, where people work, and travel. Some people we spoke to had concerns about the city's west side.
I guess the major concern, particularly for West Inner, is just the amount of manufacturing and all that's going on over there. I think that's just a major concern.
So those are to give people ideas of the scale. So how big, how tall something might look. It's not to say that's exactly what's going to happen. But once you put in place the rules and regulations, then that starts to lay the groundwork of making those things a reality, so that when someone does come in and they say, I want to build an apartment building in NODA, you kind of know what that framework is. You know how tall it can be, you know where it sits on a site.
If you want to share your thoughts on the plan, you have until this Friday. You can find out more on how to do that inside the WCNC Charlotte mobile app. Basically, they're talking about zoning. And people say zoning and you snooze off. But it is one of the most important for a growing city. It's one of the most important things that like you can sort of clue yourself into.
400,000 new people. I'm like, where are those folks going to go?
That's a lot of people.
I know. What would you guys like to see the city in 15 years?
We had brought up something about there was a plan to put in some sort of central park area where there's some.
That'd be cool.
I think that would be really cool because you need some sort of commonality. I think that would just. We were talking about the city of trees. If we can have that, I think that would be amazing. And I would say try to improve the traffic. But if 400,000 people, I don't think we're going to be able to keep up with that.
We're going to have like cars fly by that point.
And they may be, you know, never know.
I'm new to Charlotte. I've only lived here 2 or 3 months. So I'm loving all the different things here. I feel like there's so many things, no matter what you're looking for. But if there's one thing that I could add, this is like not relevant to roads or anything like that. Okay.
No wrong answers.
In the uptown area, we need a rooftop pool just for adults.
Yes.
And it's going to be like a resort-style theme. Like you can go up there, have a day pass, hang out. They'll have different themes and stuff. Maybe a lazy river. I don't know, because like their normal public pool is not doing it.
There
is
are
a
places
yeah,
that
some of the
you'll have to
hotels.
pay. I mean, you know, some of the hotels. But.
I like your idea, though.
I don't think there's a lazy
I don't
river.
think it says like advanced.
I don't think there's a lazy river in Uptown.
We're going to take a quick break here. We're going to have more weather and traffic coming up in just a moment, then more news at 7:30. Stay with us on WCNC.
Well, good morning, everybody. We have a high temperatures reaching the lower 90s for today, and then it's going to be one of those days that are like all the others, that you have the lower 90s at times, feeling like it's up to 100 degrees, and that's going to be really the norm over the next 7, that we could have a heat index around that 100-degree point most days. As far as the rain goes, we're going to have a chance for an isolated to scattered shower, really I would say after 2 o'clock, but it should cut off right about the 6 o'clock hour, so we really have a small window of opportunity. However, you are watching from around, say, the Chesterfield area, right around Anson County, you have a better chance for storms compared to, say, Charlotte itself. By tomorrow, 95 degrees, better storm chances by the end of the day in the 97 and the mid to the upper 90s Friday and beyond. Majestic, take it away.
All right, good morning, everyone. If you are getting ready to head out the door this morning, not seeing anything too out of the ordinary. No big slowdown, so at least some good news there. One area roadway is actually blocked. It's East 4th Street between Queens and Charlottetown, as crews are continuing to fix power lines because there was a wreck there yesterday. So if you typically drive that way, your alternate route this morning will be Elizabeth Ave. Just to the northwest of Uptown, we have this ongoing wreck on Brookshire Boulevard at Caldwell-Williams Road, slowing you down a couple of minutes. We're going to have more coming up on WCNC Plus. Hope to see you then.
Well, good morning, and thank you for joining us here live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Kaylin Hagwood in for Lisa.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Happening today, one of Charlotte's longest-serving mayors will join the ballot once again. In just a few hours, Mayor Liles is expected to file for re-election.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards live this morning with a preview of today's filing and what the race could all mean. Destiny, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Mayor Liles is expected to arrive right here to the Mecklenburg County Board of Elections office and officially file as a candidate and make her re-election campaign official. It also comes as more names are starting to show up for the race for Charlotte mayor. Now, Liles officially announced that she would be planning to run for a 5th term last week. Since first taking office in 2017, she's led the city through rapid growth, pushing affordable housing, launching a $250 million racial equity initiative, and championing the 2040 comprehensive plan. She's also prioritized transit, infrastructure, and small business support, and she says there's still more work to do. But Liles won't be running unopposed. Democrat Tigress Sidney Acute McDaniel and Republican Matthew Grisella have already filed over the last week. And while it's not a presidential election year, local officials say these elections can have the biggest impact.
These are the elections that really matter. All elections matter, but this is the one who's going to determine, what your town's going to look like for the next 2 years or 4 years.
That deadline for candidates in all of the races to file is this Friday at noon. And of course, we'll continue to track any more candidates that pop up on that list. And we'll be here for Mayor Liles as she comes to officially file around noon today as well. Ben, Caitlin.
Speaking of that, with more candidates likely to step forward in the next couple of days, we're likely going to see a primary in this race in September.
Yeah, that's right. So if Mayor Liles, or when Mayor Liles comes and officially files and enters the race, you have Tigress McDaniel, who's also a candidate. She filed as a Democrat on July 7th. So that already is a primary race right there. We know that Jennifer Roberts, who's a former mayor of Charlotte, has expressed interest but not officially cast in or officially signed up to run in the race. So that could possibly be a primary setup there. As for the Republican side, there's likely not to be a GOP primary unless someone signs up to contest I believe it's Matthew Grisella. So a GOP primary could happen, could not happen. It's really just waiting to see what happens on Friday. We also know that Charlotte native and activist Gemini Boyd is also planning to run. We'll see if he files on Friday. And then so it's really just seeing what happens by that noon deadline. And the primary, if one happens, would be September 9th. And then the election is on November 4th.
Yeah, some of the turnout for these elections is horribly low. So September 9th, go ahead and put that on your calendar. Be sure to vote. And then, of course, the general election in November.
Yeah, these local elections extremely important. Thanks so much, Destiny. Let's send things over to meteorologist Chris Mulcahy with another check on that WCNC Charlotte weather impact forecast.
I don't remember that because it's the day before the peak of hurricane season, which is September 10th. And we are nowhere close to the peak, and likely going forward, we're probably going to be hearing signs of tropical storms as we're already looking at one to our south, on and off probably over the next every 2 weeks, and then it turns to weekly, and then you can have multiple per week once you get a little bit closer to September. Here in Lilesville, this is gorgeous, right? Look at a little bit of blue sky. See that little darkness down at the bottom? That is some lingering fog, which is just a low-hanging cloud. We have the same over here in Dallas, so streaks of blue with some of those darker clouds, getting rid of some of the moisture evaporating in that rain that we saw yesterday. Now it's just condensed into a darker cloud. We have isolated storms more to the southeast today. Your heat index could peak to 100 today, and pretty much through the weekend, that's going to be the max. Most of the afternoons will feel like the mid to the upper 90s, though, but then some of those days it's actually going to get into the upper 90s. And our higher storm chances really develop late day tomorrow, again Friday, and again on Saturday, getting a little extra moisture, and that's also why it will be feeling a little bit hotter and getting hotter. 100 degrees is the max for our heat index today, and then it could feel as much as 103 on Friday and 102 on Saturday. That's not great, but it's not too unusual. I will say, looking at the climatological dew points, or pretty much how humid it should be this time of year, we are above average over the next week. So that's why we're going to have some elevated heat indexes or heat indices, but I don't see any heat advisories in the near term. Very close though. Our scattered thunderstorm potential, I think, really begins on Thursday evening. We do it again on Friday and Saturday, taking a better break on Sunday before it returns again on Monday. And all that means, the difference is pretty much 20 to 40%. So that means that close to half of us usually will receive rain under a scattered event, and then usually about 1 out of every 5 of us receive an isolated storm event, which is starting to pop up to our west. We see signs of rain right around Hendersonville, and a few showers are also possible right here in Burke, Caldwell County, up into the mountains. So if you are watching from here, you have on and off rain now on your forecast, on and off through the rest of this morning. So let's get to some of those rain chances. I can actually go all the way up through Friday afternoon as far as this model goes, and this is the one that I like. This one nailed the forecast yesterday, and it's also picking up on the storms further off towards the west. As a meteorologist, it sounds simple, but what you literally do is you can check the models and see what's picking up the now, and this one did a really good job at that. So you see scattered showers and storms up in the mountains down to the southeast, so that's really from Monroe to Lancaster over to Chirac. That area has the best chance for storms today, but I'm not discounting the chance really after 2 o'clock up until about 6 or 7 that we could have an isolated storm past the 485 loop, and I think we're dry most of the evening, so good news there. Still feeling humid, but hey, it's July. Once we get into tomorrow, storms first start right around Taylorsville and Morganton, and then this line starts to develop. This is a cluster of storms. Whenever you see something like this, there's usually a better chance you could have some damaging winds. So we have a very low chance for a strong storm by tomorrow. Those are scattered to end the day, heading into the evening. And then real quick look at Friday, you have scattered spotty showers and thunderstorms developing as early as 1 o'clock, and then they scatter through the afternoon, becoming a little more widespread to conclude the day, but we should be clearing out nicely by around sunset on Friday. So that's getting you up into the weekend. Coming up, I'm going to have that 7-day forecast, looking at a little bit more of a extended look at the forecast, as well as a sneak peek down to the south if we could potentially see tropical storm number 4 of the season. But first, let's get right over to Majestic to see how your commute is faring.
Good morning, everyone. It is 7:37. If you're getting ready to head out the door, let's break down a couple of the accidents that I have my eyes on for you. You can see my traffic map. It's actually getting a little busier right now. First accident to let you know about, it's now a lane that's blocked because of an incident. It's just north of I-85 here. It's on Graham Street near Allen Road. I'm going to continue to follow that because we are seeing a little bit of congestion in that area. Another one here, a crash on Wallace Lane near Monroe Road. This is just west of Independence right there. Noticing still green, so hopefully that car is just kind of off to the side and you'll have just minimal impacts if you typically drive that way. Big picture perspective, we have those slowdowns up and down I-77, our typical slowdowns inbound on I-85 as well. And this last wreck to let you know about, it's still ongoing. It's been ongoing for a while now. It's on Brookshire Boulevard where there's a crash near Fred D. Alexander Boulevard. We have mainly green right there. So again, continuing to keep you up to date. That's what I'm looking at for now. We'll have another check on those roads all coming up here in just a few.
All right, Majestic, thanks. An investigation is underway this morning after someone shot and killed a veteran at a York County Dollar General. WCNC Charlotte's Siobhan Riley spoke with customers still trying to make sense of all of this.
It's a somber day in the small town of Sharon in York County. Dollar General customers are trying to understand why someone shot and killed 69-year-old veteran Joseph Lewis at this store Saturday.
Quite a shock to everybody. I'm baffled at what happened here. It's just basically a little small town where everybody knows everybody, and so there's not many things that happen like this. So
Robert Burris has lived in this small-knit community all of his life. He says this senseless crime is a reminder that bad decisions have consequences.
Think before you act. Just think before you act. Sometimes your actions get you in a lot more trouble than you want them to be.
The store closed temporarily after the shooting, but is now back open. Customers say it's a shame their lives were put in jeopardy over someone else's actions.
It's horrible. And it could have been anybody. You know, we're subject to, just like you and I standing here, somebody could just come and start randomly shooting and we could be a victim.
Siobhan Riley reporting for us right now. Lenore police need your help finding the guy you see right here on your screen. He's accused of robbing a local convenience store and sexually assaulting the clerk. It happened early Monday morning at the run-in on Hickory Boulevard. Police also say he stole the clerk's car before ditching it nearby. If you have any information about this guy, call Crime Stoppers.
Right now, several folks in Kings Mountain are telling us they are fed up with the quality of their tap water. They say it has a bad smell and a bad taste. WCNC Charlotte's Josie Pierre is in Kings Mountain with more on the complaints.
Folks I spoke to say the tap water here in Kings Mountain is undrinkable, and there's now a petition making its round demanding answers.
What's pouring out of the faucets in Kings Mountain is causing a stir.
It definitely just has an odd odor to it and certainly an odd taste.
The water is bad.
They say even running it through a filter doesn't help.
I've had other neighbors tell me that, I've just bought a brand new filter and they can still taste it in their water.
It's not just unpleasant, it's unavoidable.
I can smell it when I take a shower, which is kind of annoying because it's like you're washing your hair and it's just nasty.
Meanwhile, businesses are making adjustments.
We've lowered our prices on our water bottles just so that more people can get them.
A petition is demanding more transparency from city officials, asking for reimbursements for filters and bottled water and for utility bills to be waived until the quality is restored. City officials say the earthy taste and smell is because of higher levels of organic material in the water. They say they have taken steps to improve the quality while they look into long-term solutions, adding the water is safe to drink. Josie Pierre, WCNC Charlotte.
Well, this morning, big changes are coming for Gastonia's cooling station. Overnight, we learned that officials voted to keep the site open, but they're going to have that outdoor operation stay open too. Critics say the parking lot setup doesn't offer enough relief in extreme heat, but city leaders say it is a compromise. The site will be open from 10 to 7 on days when temperatures exceed 90 degrees, and folks will have access to tents, misting fans, and tables. But the city could still open an indoor cooling station when the temperature is above 95 degrees. Now to a big discussion after Helene. How did climate change impact the hurricane's strength?
Back then, meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees broke down how climate change did and did not impact the storm. But what about tropical activity in general? She's raising our climate IQ this morning.
Climate change is increasing the intensity of tropical cyclones, not just here in the Atlantic Basin, but across the globe. But I want to clarify one common misconception. Climate change is not creating more storms. This varies year to year and is determined by the atmospheric pattern at the time. But what climate change is doing is allowing for the storms that do form to become more destructive. The number one reason, warming temperatures. Warm water feeds a tropical system with heat and fuel. This has led to stronger storms and more rapid intensification. Rapid intensification is an increase in winds of 35 miles per hour or higher within 24 hours. For perspective, every Category 5 hurricane to ever hit the United States was a tropical storm or less 3 days prior. This also lessens the timeline for evacuation orders to be issued. Warm air also holds more moisture. This leads to heavier rain events and more inland flooding, which has been prevalent in recent years with storms such as Harvey, Florence, and Helene. Sea level rise, which has been a topic for years, has also gotten worse. This is because water expands when it heats up. This also leads to more aggressive storm surge. Larger storms also move slower because of their size. While scientists are still debating the exact reason for this slowdown, a slower storm means longer periods of high winds, heavy rain, and storm surge. There is one variable that could lessen the impact from a hurricane: vertical wind shear. Long-term climate models suggest there will be more wind shear, which typically disrupts the storm's formation. So far, warm sea surface temperatures have overcome any increase in wind shear. With your climate IQ, I'm meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees.
Thanks a lot, Brittany. Great information there, seriously. Let's talk a little bit about that wind shear, though, and this is a good example. The main reason why we're not going to likely have a Dexter, or if we do, it has to be a quick little visit out in the Gulf, is because it's mainly gliding along land. If it got into this environment, we actually have a great wind shear environment. So this means that there's little to no wind shear over the next couple of days. That's represented by that green to that yellow, and wind shear is the change of wind speed and direction with height, which oftentimes can unbalance things, where these hurricanes and tropical storms are fickle creatures. They need everything to be just right, almost like the baby bear's porridge. But going forward, really over the next few days, we are looking at a prime example for development. But there's a lot of things working against it, such as that land. Real quick recap, or what we usually see each hurricane season. Hurricane season peaks September 10th. 87% of the storms, though, form from August 1st through November 30th. So we've already had a pretty decent season so far, but it just really shows we've only just begun, because up to this point, it's only about 10% of the storms per climatology that we typically see. Speaking of climatology, so each storm number has an average first date. Now it accelerates as we head into September, where, as you can see, storm number 4 averages August 15th, number 5 by the 22nd. And then after that, it's really every 5 days and every 3 days as it starts to lead up to that peak that I was just mentioning. As for storm number 4, we are not looking at a lot of new changes. By the 8 o'clock hour, we'll have a new update from the National Hurricane Center about what this potentially could do. But the biggest deal here is, since this low is still over the Florida Panhandle, it's giving a lot of rain. It's only a 40% chance for development. But there's one scenario that I am seeing here that potentially could cause this to at least become a tropical depression. At this point, we're just numbering it, or we're naming it. It's still going to be a lot of rain impacts, especially for Louisiana. So here's a look at a surface map and the future cast that this could bring. It looks like the rain is first arriving to Louisiana as early as later on tonight. It's rapidly going to push its way off towards the west, but there are some indications that the center could start to drift offshore. If this happens, it's going to amplify the rain, and we also could define a center. And if we have that defined center, that's going to allow for a much better chance for maybe a tropical depression. At least it already has winds at 30 miles per hour, but it could potentially become Tropical Storm Dexter. Just doesn't look like it's going to be as strong. Just letting you know, since Brittany was talking about hurricanes, I might as well lead into it as well. As for our forecast, the only effects is it'll give us more moisture, especially on Saturday. Saturday, if I were to pick a day that I think is most likely to rain, that's going to be the day. So I would say any outdoor plans you have Sunday right now is trying to be a little bit drier, but truly each day has a chance for at least an isolated shower or thunderstorm, and is a lot more scattered also on Friday as well. So there you go. That's your 7-day. Let's get over to Jess to see how your traffic is behaving.
Let's do it. All right, let's take a look at some of those area roadways. I-85 there, still seeing some of our typical slowdowns, much the same right there along I-485. Again, a few accidents. Most of them are really minor. None of them are significantly slowing down any major interstates or anything like that. Couple of things to let you know about, though. Right now, we do have a lane that's blocked. Notice this is mainly north of I-85. There's an accident right there on Graham Street near Allen Road. And then just to the south, another ongoing accident where there was a crash on Wallace Lane near Monroe Road. Last time I saw you, we had all green. Now we're seeing some of that yellow building there. As you can see, big picture perspective, we have those slowdowns up and down I-77. And again, remember, we do have that one ongoing wreck here just to the northwest of Uptown. It's on Brookshire Boulevard, where we do have that crash. It's near Fred D. Alexander Boulevard there. So still mainly in the green. I've been following this morning. It's a blocked road. It's still blocked at this point. East 4th Street between Queens and Charlottetown as crews continue to fix some power lines. There was an accident there around 4 o'clock, and the car ran into some power lines, took them down. So crews are continuing to follow that. Couple of things, though. If you typically drive this way, your best alternate route, as you can see, is really going to just be Elizabeth Ave. That'll help to get you right around it. That's what I'm looking at for now. We'll have another check on our area roadways for your morning commute here in just a few. Ben.
All right. Majestic, thanks. 7:49 right now here on WCNC Plus, and this morning doctors are raising awareness on brain health and Alzheimer's disease.
We talked to a family medicine specialist on WCNC Plus who provided some tips to keep your brain as sharp as you can as you age.
And in practicing taking care of your patients and older adults, then what are some of the strategies you recommend?
Well, speaking to our patients is obviously super important, trying to understand if this cognitive decline is not normal and is actually something that's becoming abnormal. So early detection with our patients is key. Family involvement is key. Lifestyle changes and community support is something that we all have to do to help these patients to move forward in living with this horrifying disease.
A new initiative this summer, putting brain fitness into action. Tell us about the Humana Cognitive Games, how they're designed to help seniors.
So as part of the 2025 National Senior Games, Humana Cognitive Games is a virtual challenge focusing on brain health. It's a free event that's open till August 11th, and it's open to everybody. It's designed to give your brain a workout of online games and fun activities to stimulate your mind. You can participate in humanagames.com for fun and learn about how to take charge of your brain health.
But doctor, many people worry about aging anyway versus cognitive changes. How can people distinguish the two, and when do they need to know when to see a doctor?
Well, some cognitive decline is normal as we age, but Alzheimer's is not. It's not a normal part of aging. It's a progressive, irreversible, degenerative disease of the brain. It affects behavior, our mood, and our physical well-being, which impacts the entire family. But there's hope. With early intervention, brain healthy habits, and community support, we can make a real difference.
And before we wrap up here, what's your top piece of advice then for someone who wants to start prioritizing their brain health?
Well, staying active is key. Having a daily routine, avoiding social isolation to help prevent brain atrophy, taking on new hobbies, maybe learning a new instrument, maintaining a healthy diet is always key to a lot of things with our health. Anything that can help support our brain, and playing stimulating games. Playing games like crossword puzzles, playing chess, is a chance that helps us with avoiding brain fog and fatigue.
Live Impact News comes on right after us here on WCNC Plus. Hope you'll stay tuned in all day and watch for free. Now to this. Speaking of brain games, video games are growing in popularity with older Americans. Savannah Sellers reports on why more seniors are getting into gaming.
He's in the heli.
When it comes to video games,
oh my God!
older Americans are showing they can hold their own with the kids.
I got him.
60-year-old Michelle Statham is a grandmother of 2 and also happens to have more than 3 million followers across platforms who tune in each day to watch her play the military combat game Call of Duty.
I see you.
Online, she's Tactical Grandma.
What is it that you love about video games?
I'm a competitive person. I grew up playing competitive soccer. So to me, when I play games like Call of Duty, I still get that competitive feel that I can't do physically anymore.
She's not alone. Nearly half of all baby boomers are getting in on the action, with mental stimulation as the top reason this generation says they've taken up the activity. Doctors say gaming for older Americans has benefits, allowing them to use the brain, stay engaged, and maintain cognition.
It helps your brain kind of keep firing those things that maybe you did when you worked. And if you're retired now, you may not be using those. And just if you play with people online, it's a fun way to connect with people as well.
Research shows puzzles, skill and chance, and arcade video games are the most popular with older players.
Do you feel that more and more older Americans are gaming?
I know that they are. And there's a lot of older females now that say that they started playing Call of Duty because they saw me play.
And they're doing it their way.
So I'll say, bless your heart. You know, you tried so hard. You just got beat by a grandma. Bless your heart.
Savannah Sellers, NBC News.
How about that? Mom, I hope you're watching. Maybe
That is something.
New hobby. All right, 7:54 right now here on WCNC Plus. Stand by. More weather, traffic, and breaking news coming your way right here.
Good morning, everybody. Temperatures back up to 77 degrees. We have mixed cloud and sunshine, a lot of low hangers, but eventually we'll get rid of those. And we'll see an ample amount of sunshine later on. 74 for you in Hickory and 76 good start for you in Statesville. We will get back into the lower 90s. Yesterday we hit 93. I think we're going to do it again. And then we're also going to have a humid environment. I know, no surprise there. That's going to give you a heat index right around 100 degrees by the latter afternoon. It's over the next few days that we're going to have elevated moisture, really a surplus compared to this time of year. So we'll feel like 100 to 103 for the maximum heat index over the next 4 days. Keep that in mind. 7-day forecast. Today is technically the coolest air temperature. After that, you have a range of 95 to 97 heading Thursday through Monday, back to 94, but still hot and humid next Tuesday. Majestic, what's going on for our morning commute?
All right, let's get to it. I want to show you my live traffic map. There is a lot going on this morning. Let's break down a few of them for you. This one here just north of Uptown. A lane is blocked because of an accident. It's just north of I-85. It's on Graham Street near Allen Street. Seeing a little bit of a slowdown there. Off to the west, this one here on Berkshire Boulevard. There's a crash near Fred D. Alexander Boulevard. Still seeing mainly green, so no big impacts for your morning commute. Road is still blocked on East 4th Street between Queens and Charlottetown as crews are fixing power lines. Take Elizabeth Street instead.
streaming live right now at 8 a.m. here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Kaylin Hagwood. Lisa has the day off. This morning, people in Wingate are waking up without a police department. Overnight, town leaders voted to dissolve that department.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live with the details on the impact for the folks living there. All right, Richard, I mean, sounds pretty serious, but I know there's a plan in place to cover them. Bring us up to speed.
Yeah, there is a plan in place, Ben. Good morning to you. Good morning, Kaylin. Good Wednesday morning to all the folks out there on the Plus. We can tell you that basically the plan is for the Union County Sheriff's Office to patrol this area. Actually, the sheriff has already said that he plans to have deputies designated for this area. He says at least 4 designated. More could come as needed. But I'll tell you something I just noticed throughout the morning. We've sat up here. We've watched the empty police cars. We've been trying the door, and as of just 2-3 seconds ago, right before we got on camera, the police station is still closed. No one is there, which would normally be the circumstances. They have not had a permanent date set as far as when they will actually close down for good. But right now, this police department sits empty. Now, this is all because of that vote last night that city leaders, the town of Wingate's police department will be disbanded. Town officials are also facing some mounting pressure over that controversial termination. That was involving one of its officers, Officer Eric Talon. He's a longtime Wingate officer, a military veteran. He's a husband, father of 5 children, has been battling an aggressive brain tumor. He recently completed chemo. Now, just days after receiving his medical clearance to return to work, Talon also received a letter of termination. That letter was dated on July the 7th, notifying that his employment would end on July the 31st. That's just one day before he was expected to resume duty. All of this at a time when the town leaders have voted 4-1 to shut down its police department and contract law enforcement services through the Union County Sheriff's Office to save what they say are costs, reduce liability, and also address their high turnover concerns. Now, the decision about Talon has sparked a strong community backlash, with advocacy groups calling Talon's dismissal a symbol of deeper systematic issues within the department and town's leadership.
I've never heard of anybody getting fired while they're getting treated for cancer. Chief of police there, I talked to him yesterday, and he said that they have offered the employees severance package, but he asked about Eric. They said that he didn't have a severance package. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance for them to do the right thing, and they should do it.
But as of last check, it seems that everything is standing the way it is. We don't have an official end of service day for this department, but we can tell you that at this moment right now, this building sits empty. There are some other things that could happen later today. Of course, we're going to keep you updated on some other moves within this department that we've heard about, but we'll wait. We won't speculate. We'll wait till that happens, and then we'll let you know. We're right here in Union County. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
All right, so Richard, I don't think there's a clear answer here, but if something happens right now at 803 in Wingate and somebody needs a police officer, what's going to happen?
Just before I checked this door for the last time, I did see a Union County Sheriff deputy driving by. That is the case. Sheriff Kathy said they've already made some 21 calls here since July the 1st in the town of Wingate. That's whenever the police department couldn't handle it. So he's already has patrols going through this area as we speak right now. We did see a patrol car going through. So that's what would happen as far as people in this community feeling safe. They should know that the Sheriff's Office is already patrolling like they've been doing for at least since the beginning of the month. So they do incorporated areas. Now they're doing the town of Wingate, and eventually they'll sign that document. It's a 1-year renewable contract every year that they'll sign, and then they'll take over permanently. So that's what people should get used to at least for the next year. And it'll probably be a longer term deal than that.
We know that emotions are high there for those police officers, at one point saying they were willing to not even take a salary increase if they could keep their department. So a lot of an emotional day, I'm sure, for those officers. Richard Devane reporting there. Thank you so much. Turning now to a live look at Uptown, where it has been a lot drier than it was yesterday. We did see some pop-up showers yesterday, but the rain has moved on. The heat still there, though. Let's send things over to Chris Mulcahy.
Thanks a lot, Caitlin. Well, I have my head in the clouds, literally. Check it out. Over here in Dallas, 1,450 feet up. Seeing some blue sky there, but then sometimes at the surface you look up and you got a bunch of clouds over you. It just depends where you are. Some of us seeing a mix of clouds and blue, and then others just a kind of a gray, low-hanging cloud. I think most of us are going to have a nice mix of clouds and sunshine today, but look where you've been over the last few days. 97, 98. 93. Monday officially was the 4th time that we've hit 98 degrees. We haven't hit 99 yet. We hit 100. We hit 98 4 times, but 99 is the only temperature in the 90s that we haven't hit so far. Just trying to collect them all, you know. 93 degrees is also going to be a match of what we had yesterday as well. 91 in Lancaster and 88 in Rockingham. But why, Chris? Why is it cooler to the southeast? I think it's those areas that are going to have a better chance for a little bit of rain. Same thing up in the mountains in between. Just isolated storms, so it depends where you are. We'll have a max heat index, I think, around 100. This model data cranks up about 101. That's not unusual, hitting 93 by about 5 p.m. The only thing that's going to cool us down is a rain shower, so that easily can strip our temperatures down 5 to 10 degrees, just depending. But where we're going over the coming days is still going to be a muggy environment. We're going to be feeling it, y'all. 101 by tomorrow as well, 103 to 102. So we are getting close to that danger zone. Once you have a chance of feeling as much as 105, that's when the National Weather Service is going to issue a heat advisory. So we have no potential heat advisories in the near term, but hey, close enough. Hot and humid days on the way. This is also a nice product by the National Weather Service. You see barely any changes. We definitely have some major heat impacts. That's always going to be shaded red once you're feeling like 100 degrees plus. Once you see this purple color appear, that's the extreme threat. That's when you're feeling like 105. Anything in the orange is mainly sub 100. So our rainfall chances over the next several days are going to hit their ebbs and flows, meaning that at times you're going to have barely anything, and at times you're going to have widespread rain. And scattered is technically only about 40 to 50% of us receiving showers. I think there's going to be periods, moments, few hours here and there that rain becomes likely to widespread. And I'm going to go through all those over the next 3 days. First off, if you are watching from Burke, Caldwell County, you have active rain. Now we're actually starting to see our first signs of showers and thunderstorms. We saw this yesterday, that we saw some pretty decent thunderstorms over in Raleigh, actually produced some flash flood warnings. We have no designated threat for flash flooding today. There's no excessive rainfall outlook for us here locally. Do have a little bit of Ashe County that's under that, but we already see signs of showers and storms. So it's really right here from around Morganton through Hickory to the northwest. You have the best chance for rain for this morning and also through the afternoon. So let's go through all those rain chances, get right to it. Futurecast showing those signs of showers off towards the west. Then really it's southeast of Charlotte that we have these little areas of showers and storms right through this stretch. Charlotte, I think after 2 you could have a storm bubble up, but it's a good chance you're staying dry most of the afternoon, maybe a passing shower or 2, and then heading in the evening, good chance of staying dry as well. Tomorrow is completely different. Tomorrow you start off with earlier rain, same spot, mountains and the foothills. That's not unusual. Right around noon though, watch, storms turn into multiple storms. This is a cluster event. Once they start to do this, they can sometimes form lines, and that's going to actually up our chance for some gusty winds. So it wouldn't be surprised if we maybe have a stray severe thunderstorm warning that pops up around the I-40 corridor down to about I-85. I think they hit their peak right about 5 o'clock, and then they work their way down towards the south, and they could linger pretty deep into the evening. For your Friday, it's kind of back to what we have today. Those storms really start to pop a little bit earlier, but it's still going to be a little bit more widespread. So we're seeing a lot more numerous storms for your late Thursday, again on Friday. And what you're seeing here on the map for your Friday, look at the time, 5 o'clock into the evening. That's what your Saturday is looking like as well. So general rule, just pretty much do things in the morning and you're going to be just fine. 7-day forecast, 95 by tomorrow. 93 is the coolest high that I have. Hate using coolest there, but it's true. And 97 by Friday, and then really mid to the upper 90s going forward. So yeah, it's a hotter version of July, but not too out of the norm. Let's get over to Majestic, see what's going on. Good morning to you.
Good morning, everyone. Well, at least we don't have rain showers this morning. There's a live look of uptown. A little cloud coverage out there, but shouldn't be a bad day. Area roadways are looking all right, so your morning commute isn't looking too bad. Although, once we look at my live traffic map, it does look quite active, and there are a lot of minor ongoing wrecks, but nothing that's really significant that's going to impact a whole lot of people. Well, We'll start with this one here where we do have a lane that's blocked because of an incident. It's on Graham Street near Allen Road. We're seeing some of that yellow pop up, meaning northbound lanes will be impacted there. This is just north of I-85. Another ongoing wreck I want to let you know about is here. This one's been ongoing for at least 20 to 30 minutes. A crash on Wallace Lane near Monroe Road. You can see this is just west of Independence there. So just make sure you allow for a little bit of extra drive time with that yellow popping up. Cars are still able to get through, which is going to take a little bit longer than maybe it typically would without that crash there. And then this here, it's on Brookshire Boulevard. There's a crash there at Fred D. Alexander Boulevard. Starting to see those backups there. Northbound lanes being impacted as well. And then another one here, there's a crash on South Boulevard at Tremont Ave. This is a new one, and we not only have yellows but also oranges, indicating that it is going to be a little slower this morning as cars are kind of just inching little by little. This accident actually just it is still ongoing here. It's at Shopton Road near Limehurst Place. This is out towards Lake Wiley, so once you go over the water there, keep this in mind. I'm going to continue to watch that one specifically. That's what I'm watching overall right now. Kaylin will have another check on the area roadways here in just a few.
All right, Majestic, thanks so much. A live look at the Capitol this morning, where Senate lawmakers just narrowly advanced President Trump's plan to slash $9 billion in spending. The deal takes back money that was already approved, like funding for foreign aid and public broadcasting. The Senate will hold a final vote on the proposal later this week, but not before a long round of amendment voting later today. The House is also prepared to vote on a new Senate version before Friday's deadline. This all comes as President Trump just announced a major investment in energy and AI. But as NBC's Alice Barr shows us, it could be overshadowed by the president's tariffs and the impact on inflation.
In a new snapshot of the U.S. economy, inflation picked up a notch in June, raising questions about the impact of President Trump's tariffs, beginning to slowly work their way through the economy. Concerns he downplayed.
Very slight. Essentially, they were exactly as anticipated, very low inflation. So what you should do is lower the rate. The Fed should lower the rate immediately.
The president ramping up his pressure on Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell to lower interest rates, decreasing the cost of borrowing money. Though any sign of rising prices will complicate the Fed's next moves as it works to drive inflation down below 2%.
What is important here is that the rate of change, how quickly prices are changing, is increasing.
The new report showing consumer prices rose 2.7% in June, 0.3% higher than in May, a slight reversal from the overall downward trend this year. In tariff-targeted sectors, the price of appliances, toys, furniture, and bedding all rose, while the cost of a new vehicle dropped.
What we're realizing is that it takes a lot longer for tariffs to sort of work their way through the economy, and we may still see again, inflation continue to rise.
President Trump rejects that idea, adamant tariffs are bringing in big money and pointing to new investments in the U.S., including in energy and AI, rolling out more news Tuesday in Pennsylvania.
More than $56 billion in new energy infrastructure and more than $36 billion in new data center projects.
President Trump betting big on his vision for the economy. Experts are warning about a new term, sneakflation, where companies find subtle ways to pass on their increased costs without changing the list price. Tactics like lowering the quality of the product, shortening return windows, and ending free shipping, all things to watch out for. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
More now on those tariffs as we connect the dots. Stand by for sticker shock. The medicine you take every single morning and that glass of wine you enjoy at night is about to get even more expensive. Get ready. Prices for some of your favorite items may spike soon. Let's connect the dots. President Trump just announced new 30% tariffs on European Union goods. That means a lot of the items you love from Europe are about to get a lot more expensive. We're talking about wine, cheese, pasta, cars, even some medicine. Italy's wine industry says the tariff could block 80% of Italian wine exports. Germany, the EU's top exporter to the U.S., says jobs and investments are at risk. President Trump says the tariffs will take effect August 1st unless a new trade deal is reached. The EU is calling it absolutely unacceptable, but for now says it's holding off on retaliation. Still, it has $100 billion in tariffs ready to go if needed, aimed at U.S. goods like bourbon and soybeans. And that is connecting the dots.
Well, this Saturday marks the return of Festival Colombiano to the Charlotte area, but increased ice activity does have some folks weighing whether or not to go.
WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris spoke with organizers about how they plan to maintain the tradition around this year's festival.
Uptown Charlotte is preparing to celebrate Colombian culture with its third annual Festival Colombiano event this weekend. However, some community members, they expressed concerns about attendance amid recent immigration enforcement activity in the area.
The economic drive that we pour into the city is huge.
Organizers of Festival Colombiano are hopeful this weekend's festivities will bring out thousands of people to celebrate Colombian heritage and other Hispanic cultures.
We're wanting to highlight the fact that we are people from everywhere, that we put so much into the city and the growth of Charlotte.
But this year's festival comes amid heightened concerns about immigration enforcement in the Charlotte region. Carol Cortez, the organizer of the festival, says their festival is actually a chance to better connect with law enforcement.
So they have a chance to talk with the people, learn about the culture, and also let people know that, hey, we're all humans, we're all people.
I think on the other side of it, it's good to tear down a paradigm that all Latinos are illegal.
Sponsors like El Futuro es Latino stress possible attendees are vital for maintaining cultural connections and community unity.
We helping and we bring community together. We embrace our community to another community.
For more information on this year's festival, Colombiano, download the WCNC Charlotte mobile app and click on this story. In Uptown, I'm Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
8:16 right now on WCNC Plus. And new this morning, a number of people nursing injuries they suffered leaving Beyonce's concert in Atlanta. Authorities say an escalator malfunction at the train station injured several people following the Cowboy Carter concert Monday night. According to MARTA, that's Atlanta's transit authority, 9 people were hurt. Witnesses say it was chaos when that escalator just started running at a high rate of speed, throwing people on top of each other.
Escalade went out and everyone tumbled out.
I started hearing screaming, like loud bunches of screaming. And the people that were already on the platform with me, they started running. And I was like, okay, what's going on? There was a lady laying on the ground with her young daughter, an older lady that had to prop her leg up on the bench. Like, there were a lot of people that needed assistance after that.
An inspection certificate shows the escalator is due for inspection next month. The transit authority says it had more than 128,000 riders over the weekend. Close to 27,000 of them took MARTA Monday.
North Carolina leaders are trying to address the impacts of recent flooding in the state. Yesterday, the Army Corps of Engineers released more than 90,000 gallons of water from Jordan Lake, just west of Raleigh. Recent rain has caused the water to rise almost 13 feet. And with more rain on the way, engineers say opening the dam will hopefully lower that risk of flash flooding. Chris?
Yeah, from all the rain from Chantal. Then the back-to-back days that we had some flash flood warnings, including some around this time yesterday. Greensboro seeing well over 5 to 7 inches of rain over the last week alone. So yeah, that definitely needs to be done. And there's also the Lumber River in Lumberton that was at major flood stage less than a week ago as well. We are very saturated in central North Carolina, so we do not need any more rain, nor do we need any tropical systems. However, indirectly, we are going to get an additional rainfall really on Friday and Saturday because of this guy. Tropical wave Invest 93L. This is looking like a real good shot at becoming Tropical Storm Dexter. But now there's one thing working against it: land. This was initially tracked to go this way, so that would be right over the Gulf, but instead it looks like it's going to go due west through Panama. And the most recent update that come by is what's called an intermediate update. Once you get into a tropical storm or a hurricane, the full updates where the cone changes and also the storm details, that's 5 a.m. and 11 a.m. So the biggest update that I think we're going to have from the system is at 11 a.m. So Majestic will have that for our midday show, and that also streams right here on WCNC Plus as well. But land, that's what we had. This is the graphic that I had from yesterday. Wind shear, not a problem. Dry air, no problem. I was expecting maybe a landfall from this becoming at least a tropical storm. But instead, this has to go over the Gulf in order for it to turn over to Dexter. But at this point, it barely might even make it to a tropical depression status. So that's actually really good news. You do not want this moving directly over the Gulf, especially if it's slowed down, because that's just going to add more rain, and that's also going to increase the winds. Over the next 5 days, check out the model track. I think this is going to be on the doorstep of New Orleans and the eastern side of Louisiana by about 24 hours from now. But there is a slight indication it could dip to the south before it really makes its official landfall, and at that point could become a tropical depression. Check it out. We see the clusters of storms. This is 11 p.m. later on, but here's the one model that shows otherwise a chance for it to have some tropical development. The center exits here. You start to see a little bit of circulation before it starts to push its way off towards the north. But watch, look at all these showers that scatter out. This is that moisture that kind of plumes across the area. That's going to up our flood potential heading into your Saturday. So Saturday into Sunday, that's the best chance for widespread rain that we have on the extended forecast. It's also a nearby front that's going to be aiding that as well. So our next best rain chances, I would really say tomorrow evening, Friday, Saturday, and again on Saturday evening for the foreseeable future. So 93 degrees today, 95 to 97 through the weekend, and then we cool off, quote, quote, 94 next Tuesday. Yeah, it's still really hot. The heat streak continues. Let's head over to Majestic.
Good morning, everyone. If you have some place to be, let's get to it. Want to show you our live traffic map. We still have a lot going on, a lot of ongoing smaller wrecks there. This one here is still ongoing. It's just north of I-85, where we currently have a lane that's blocked because of an accident. It's on Graham Street near Allen Road. Another accident that I continue to follow very carefully for you is this one here, just west of Independence. It's a crash on Wallace Lane near Monroe Road. So if you typically take Monroe, you're not going to want to drive that way, because actually those slowdowns continue to get worse. As we're looking at this, Brookshire Boulevard, there's a crash near Fred D. Alexander Boulevard here. Again, this one has been green a whole lot, so I think really by this point the car's off to the side and people are still able to get right around it. South Boulevard, this is a busy spot this time of the day. We have a crash here at South Boulevard and Tremont Ave. Looks like it's impacting really those northbound lanes mainly. And then out towards Lake Wiley, this crash here on Shopton Road near Limehurst Place, it is backed up. You see this yellow here? That means traffic is still flowing. It's just flowing rather slowly. Medium impacts with that ongoing wreck. Off to the east, still watching this. This is a lane that is blocked because of that. We're going to continue to give you another update coming up in just a few minutes. But for now, we're going to send it out to Larry for today's Tiny Town.
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle. Time for today's Tiny Town. It's Lowry's in South Carolina, just north of the town of Chester. By the way, the population is 184, area is 3.16 square miles. Lowry's is known for the People's Free Library of South Carolina. It was built back in 1903. It's a one-story building, one room, and is now a museum. That's the People's Free Library. You'll find it in downtown Lowry, South Carolina. And Lowry's, by the way, is today's Tiny Town. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
Charlotte's soccer scene about to get a lot bigger. Later this morning, Major League Soccer and city leaders are expected to announce that Charlotte will host the 2026 MLS All-Star game. The announcement set for 10:15 this morning. We're going to stream it live right here on WCNC+. 8:23 right now. If you're already thinking about lunch, how about a hot dog for this National Hot Dog Day?
Yeah, the summer staple can be traced back to Germany and Austria in the 15th century. German immigrants actually brought sausages to the U.S. in the 1800s. And while many prefer them grilled or toasted over a fire, you can also boil, pan fry, and rotisserie cook them. In Charlotte, the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office is actually hosting their own National Hot Dog Day celebration, where you can grab a free hot dog at First Ward Park while supplies last. Everything happening at 11 a.m. Now, we've been talking about the list of toppings. According to the Guinness World Record, the most expensive hot dog was sold for $169, sold by Tokyo Dog Food Truck in Seattle. Among the topics that were on it were Wagyu beef, Japanese shaved black truffles, and caviar. What do y'all think about that?
I'll take it.
Well, of course, we went around to our team to see what boundaries we had when it comes to toppings. You know, caviar is not on the top of my list. Relish, I put it here only because I have not had relish on my hot dog. I'm a very chili, ketchup, mustard, onions kind of girl.
Do you like pickles?
I do like pickles. Do you think this is gonna be my
Probably
fave?
like it.
2025 is the
year to give it a try.
Year of your relish, dog.
Mine was just raw onions. I'm just not a big onion fan, so if they're mixed in something, great, but just plain onions, no, I'll pass.
I love them. I'll load it on mine.
You could take mine.
Okay, this one's just really bizarre to me. Anything that's sweet put on hot dogs. I've seen weird things put on hot dogs in general, so I don't think people typically do this, but can't rule it out. So nothing sweet for me. Otherwise, I like it all.
You were mentioning something about the Mariner dog, though. Didn't you say that they sometimes put cream cheese on it?
Yes, in Washington State, where I'm from, you put slather cream cheese on it.
Real quick, I don't think there's any boundaries. I'll put anything on a hot dog at least once.
No rules.
No rules, no boundaries.
That is very on brand.
Reckless.
That's exactly what I expected. All right, live pictures right now over Uptown as we take a quick break. We're back with more breaking news, weather, and traffic right here on WCNC Plus.
Good day, everybody. We do have a chance for a few showers and thunderstorms as we work our way through the afternoon. I know, pretty typical. Today is National Hot Dog Day, by the way, so if maybe you're enjoying your favorite dog, especially with the grilled bun, you're looking at a chance for an isolated storm really between 2 and 6, and then the lower 90s is going to be upon us. So hopefully you're enjoying your lunch like this guy, or for dinner. You might have a chance for a storm, as I mentioned, mid to late afternoon, but then after that, fire up the grills. I think you're just fine. Lingering rain is going to last the longest up in the mountains and the foothills. That's also where we're anticipating the most rain for tomorrow. Tomorrow starts in the morning and then just continues on and off, where we're going to have those constant surges of showers through the next couple of days. It really looks like late day Thursday through the overnight. Friday and Saturday are our best chances for scattered to even a likely chance for storms. Today is actually the lowest chance for rain that we have until Sunday. Enjoy. It's going to be great for the Charlotte FC match a little bit later on, clearing out just in time. After that, mid to the upper 90s is the norm Thursday through the weekend into next week. Majestic, what's going on this morning?
It's busy on those area roadways. Live look outside, I-77 coming in from York County. You can see a nice start to the day, but people are definitely out starting their morning. Traffic is ongoing, and so is my map. It's very busy. Want to break down a couple of things. We're following this road that's still blocked. It's on 4th Street between Queens and Charlottetown as crews continue to fix power lines. There was a crash there yesterday, so your best alternate route for that is just to take Elizabeth Ave. We're going to break down all of those wrecks coming up on WCNC Plus. Hope to see you there.
Well, good morning and thank you for joining us here live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Kaylin Hagwood in for Lisa.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Happening today, one of Charlotte's longest serving mayors is going to join the ballot once more. In just a few hours, Mayor Liles is expected to file for re-election.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards live this morning with a preview of today's filing and what it could mean for you. Good morning, Destiny.
Good morning. Yeah, around noon today, Mayor Vi Liles is expected to arrive here to the Mecklenburg County Board of Elections office and file as a candidate, officially launching her re-election campaign. And this comes as more names begin to emerge in the race for Charlotte mayor. Now, it was last week that Liles announced that she had plans to run for a 5th term. And since first taking office in 2017, she's led the city through rapid growth, pushing affordable housing, launching a $250 million racial equity initiative, and championing the 2040 comprehensive plan. She's also prioritized transit, infrastructure, and small business support, and she says there's still more work to do. But Liles won't be running unopposed. Democrat Tigress Sidney Acute McDaniel and Republican Matthew Grisella have already filed over the last week. While it's not a presidential election year, local officials say these elections can have the biggest impact.
These are the elections that really, really matter. All elections matter, but this is the one who's going to determine, what your town's going to look like for the next 2 years or 4 years.
The deadline for all candidates in this year's election to file is this Friday by noon. We also know that Charlotte native and activist Gemini Boyd has expressed plans to file this Friday, obviously before that noon deadline. And then also former Charlotte Mayor Jennifer Roberts has expressed interest in running, but we have not heard further details about that. Of course, we'll continue to keep track of whoever else jumps into this race and also follow Mayor Vi Liles as she arrives here to officially file.
And Destiny, with more candidates stepping forward, could this race head to a primary?
That's definitely a possibility. Once Mayor Vi Liles enters the race for her 5th term, she'll be challenged by that Democratic candidate who filed last week on the 7th, and that is Tigress McDaniel. She filed as a Democrat. And then we also have on the GOP side Matthew Grisella, and it just depends on if he has a candidate that signs up to run against him, then there would be a primary, but it's very possible that there's only a Democratic primary. And as for the other candidates, possible candidates, that is, Jennifer Roberts was a Democrat when she was mayor. So if she does file, she could run as a Democrat again, and then it would be a multi-candidate race there. And then we know that Gemini Boyd is a youth crime and mass incarceration prevention advocate. So it's possible he could run as a Democrat. All of that is just waiting to see by this Friday. And if there is a primary that happens this fall, then the date for that election would be Tuesday, September 9th. And then, of course, the main election for this year's races are on November 4th.
Mayor Vi Liles has proven in the past to be a very formidable opponent when it comes to mayoral elections. We'll see what happens. All right, Destiny Richards reporting live outside the Board of Elections there in Midtown. Destiny, thank you. 8:33 right now here on WCNC Plus. Chris joins us right now with a look at your forecast.
Thanks a lot, Ben. Yeah, 77 degrees is our current temperature right now. So our now and later, just like the candy forecast, is going to be in the 80s before you know it. We have some pretty thick clouds from place to place right now. It's that dark variety, but we're also seeing the nice evolution of some of that blue sky. And I think overall, it's going to be a partly cloudy afternoon. At times, that cloud cover can build. And we're going to have a chance for rain mainly after this hour, after 1 o'clock. And I think it's really 2 to 6 that we're seeing most of the rain. So this is different from yesterday. Yesterday, I was like, hey, pretty much anything goes. You can have a chance for rain this morning. You can have a chance for rain this afternoon. During the evening, at least we have a smaller window. However, if you're watching from Morganton and areas up in the mountains, you have a much higher chance for rain. Even right now, you have some active showers, and then that'll also continue into the afternoon and the evening as well. So very widespread on and off through most of the day up in the mountains. That's the only difference. Over here in Monroe, seeing some of those darker clouds. So again, we're going to get rid of this cloud cover eventually. Instead of having fog, sometimes when you're evaporating the moisture from the surface and it rises up, it could create just a low deck of clouds. clouds. That's exactly what happened this morning. And over here in Lilesville in Anson County, beautiful blues. So it just depends where you are. All of us will come together with more sunshine through the rest of this morning. High temperatures today, 93 degrees. That's exactly where we were yesterday. Then tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, 95 to 97 degrees. Back to the mid-90s once again, above the average. So Charlotte FC, they're back in town today, hoping to go for another W, get a win streak going. 7:30 is going to be the time, so right around 6 o'clock. I think that is the latest storm chance that we have, at least for the near term. Upper 80s by about 7 o'clock, so that means for most of the game, we're still going to have a real feel, close to 90 to the upper 80s. By the end of the match, though, temperatures back down into the lower 80s, but we're going to have a high relative humidity, so that means you feel pretty soupy by the time you're walking out and about, so maybe bring a towel with you. Our overnight forecast back down to 75. That was our low yesterday, very similar this morning, and it's also going to be a slight heat index that we hold on to most of the morning. We just have a really high level of moisture. It's actually above what we usually have here in July. The average is actually around 70, 71 for this time of year. Now we're rocking the mid-70s, so that continues to keep this one of the warmest Julys that we have in Charlotte history, at least in the top 10 so far. Rain chances a little less today. Now, even though it only says 20% on Thursday, I think that once you head over to our nighttime rain chances, so that would be really your Thursday evening, that's where you have the highest potential. But then Friday and Saturday in the near term, those are the best chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms. And since we have so much moisture in the air, once you get to the mid-90s, realistically we'll feel anywhere from 101 to 103 for our max heat index. So stay cool, everybody, because already in the National Weather Service showing that we have a major heat impact through this weekend, heading into your Sunday as well, and that's for any time you have a temperature that is feeling like 100 degrees plus. Outside of the weekend, well, we don't really have a lot of changes. Really, for the long-range forecast, the mid to the upper 90s is the norm. Over the next 10 days, it's 93 to 98 degrees, so no real relief in sight. Stay cool, everybody, with pretty much every day a hot and humid one with a chance for storms. At least today for the Charlotte area, it's a little less than what we had yesterday. And there's your 7-day. Let's head over to Majestic to see how your traffic's starting.
Let's do it. Let's start with another live look outside. It is a mild start to the day. Not saying, of course, any rain showers, just a nice mix of sun and clouds. There's I-77 there out there in York County. So if you're coming in from South Carolina, good morning to you. Seeing a lot of activity on my live traffic maps, though, but all of these are really just minor ones. None of them are really impacting a ton of people at the same time. We'll start with this one just off to the northwest of Uptown. It's on Brookshire Boulevard, a crash near Fred D. Alexander Boulevard. Still, that car is off to the side mainly, so it might slow you down just a little while, but nothing too significant. This one here, though, the turning lane is actually blocked because of a crash on South Boulevard, northbound at Tremont Road. So you can see those yellows and oranges starting to pop up. Remember, we do still have that road that's blocked. It's on East 4th Street. It's been blocked for hours now. It's between Queens and Charlottetown. Crews are there. They're fixing power lines. There was an accident there yesterday, and it took out those power lines. So you can see this purple is indicating the road that is closed. Just to the west of it, you can see that orange indicating a lot of heavy traffic. So this would be your best alternate route for sure. That's going to be taking Elizabeth Ave. Off to the south of Uptown even more. This is out towards Lake Wiley where this crash is still ongoing. However, it's on a Shoptown Road in Limehurst Place. This was just orange, but now we're back in the green. So I bet that is just getting cleared up. That's what I'm looking at for now. Kaylin, we'll have another check coming up here shortly.
All right, Majestic, thanks so much. An investigation is underway this morning after someone shot and killed a veteran at this York County Dollar General. WCNC Charlotte's Siobhan Riley spoke with customers still trying to make sense of everything that happened.
It's a somber day in the small town of Sharon in York County. Dollar General customers are trying to understand why someone shot and killed 69-year-old veteran Joseph Lewis at this store Saturday.
Quite a shock to everybody. I'm baffled at what happened here. It's just basically a little small town where everybody knows everybody, and so there's not many things that happen like this. So
Robert Burris has lived in this small-knit community all of his life. He says this senseless crime is a reminder that bad decisions have consequences.
Think before you act. Just think before you act. Sometimes your actions get you in a lot more trouble than you want them to be.
The store closed temporarily after the shooting, but is now back open. Customers say it's a shame their lives were put in jeopardy over someone else's actions.
It's horrible, and it could have been anybody. We're subject to, just like you and I standing here, somebody could just come and start randomly shooting and we could be a victim.
Siobhan Riley reporting for us there. Right now, Lenore police need your help to find the man you see right here on your TV screen right now. He's accused of robbing a local convenience store and sexually assaulting the clerk. It happened early Monday morning at the run-in on Hickory Boulevard. Police also say he stole the clerk's car before ditching it nearby. If you have any information on things that could find this guy right here, please contact Crime Stoppers.
And right now, several folks in Kings Mountain are telling us they are fed up with the quality of their tap water. They say it has a bad smell, a bad taste. WCNC Charlotte's Jesse Pierre is in Kings Mountain with more on their frustration and what's being done about it.
Folks I spoke to say the tap water here in Kings Mountain is undrinkable, and there's now a petition making its round demanding answers.
What's pouring out of the faucets in Kings Mountain is causing a stir.
It definitely just has an odd odor to it and certainly an odd taste.
The water is bad.
They say even running it through a filter doesn't help.
I've had other neighbors tell me that, I've just bought a brand new filter and they can still taste it in their water.
It's not just unpleasant, it's unavoidable.
I can smell it when I take a shower, which is kind of annoying because it's like you're washing your hair and it's just nasty.
Meanwhile, businesses are making adjustments.
We've lowered our prices on our water bottles just so that more people can get them.
A petition is demanding more transparency from city officials, asking for reimbursements for filters and bottled water and for utility bills to be waived until the quality is restored. City officials say the earthy taste and smell is because of higher levels of organic material in the water. They say they have taken steps to improve the quality while they look into long-term solutions, adding the water is safe to drink. Jesse Pierre, WCNC Charlotte.
Well, this morning, big changes are coming for Gastonia's cooling station. Overnight, we learned that officials voted to keep the site open, but they're going to do a bit of a compromise here. It's going to be the outdoor operation that has been so controversial in part. Critics say that the parking lot setup just didn't offer enough relief in the extreme heat, but city leaders say that this will be a compromise. The site will be open from 10 to 7 on days when temperatures exceed 90 degrees. People will have access to tents, misting fans, and tables, and the city could still open that indoor cooling station back when temperatures are above 95 degrees. They're going to revisit all of this next month. Now to a big discussion after Helene. How did climate change impact the hurricane's strength?
Back then, meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees broke down how climate change did and did not impact the storm. But what about tropical activity in general? She's raising our climate IQ this morning.
Climate change is increasing the intensity of tropical cyclones, not just here in the Atlantic Basin, but across the globe. But I want to clarify one common misconception. Climate change is not creating more storms. This varies year to year and is determined by the atmospheric pattern at the time. But what climate change is doing is allowing for the storms that do form to become more destructive. The number one reason, warming temperatures. Warm water feeds a tropical system with heat and fuel. This has led to stronger storms and more rapid intensification. Rapid intensification is an increase in winds of 35 miles per hour or higher within 24 hours. For perspective, every Category 5 hurricane to ever hit the United States was a tropical storm or less 3 days prior. This also lessens the timeline for evacuation orders to be issued. Warm air also holds more moisture. This leads to heavier rain events and more inland flooding, which has been prevalent in recent years with storms such as Harvey, Florence, and Helene. Sea level rise, which has been a topic for years, has also gotten worse. This is because water expands when it heats up. This also leads to more aggressive storm surge. Larger storms also move slower because of their size. While scientists are still debating the exact reason for this slowdown, a slower storm means longer periods of high winds, heavy rain, and storm surge. There is one variable that could lessen the impact from a hurricane: vertical wind shear. Long-term climate models suggest there will be more wind shear, which typically disrupts the storm's formation. So far, warm sea surface temperatures have overcome any increase in wind shear. With your Climate IQ, I'm meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees.
Great job, Brittany. Well, I'm going to pivot from the tropics. We mentioned a little bit earlier about the potential for a tropical depression, but I want to talk about how hot July has been. So we're 15 days to July, so looking at the stats through that point. So today's actually the middle point, the median of July. Well, we're almost in the top 5. We've averaged 83.2 degrees so far through 15 days of July. So we are near the top 5 warmest Julys on record. Okay, let's actually call it the hottest Julys on record. It's really been our lows that have been the most epic. But if you look at number 3, 2024, we're actually hotter to begin July in 2024 than we've been so far this year. So yeah, it has been quite the run so far. Our current temperatures right now across the area are rocking 77 degrees. It's pretty much exactly where we were just a day ago. But we also have a little bit of rain. So I want to show you a few showers over here in Burke County that are continuing to build. So here, let me stop this right here. So I'm gliding radar. So I'll bring up our sweeping radar. This is actually on the verge of turning into a thunderstorm right here along Highway 64. That'll be pushing its way into Morganton. Looking at the current speeds right now, this is a fairly slow mover overall, moving at about 14 miles per hour. So that is going to allow for some heavier rain rates. So just look out Morganton over to Valdez. You are going to be dealing with a little extra shower activity. Also here, let me rewind briefly. Notice that there was a little shower that popped up right here about to cross I-40 here. That's just southwest of Eichard. These type of showers are the ones that kind of pop up and then just dissipate because they spend themselves out, but they can also form new showers and storms. So I wouldn't be surprised over near here around Rhodus and Hickory and North Lakes, we're going to develop a few more showers. Now this is primarily where the boundary is, and the boundary is just a little trough that was further off towards the west. So that was right over here. So that's fading out, but that's still going to keep some rain chances around for the rest of today. So I just want everyone to be advised that this is pretty much the hot spot as far as rain showers go. So we're going to go over the next 3 days, and I'm going to show you your rain potential across the area. This Futurecast has done a really good job. It didn't per se pick up on the exact shower here in Morganton, but it does have one right here not too far off. So we're going to use this one. The other one had a whole lot of nothing and has been terribly inaccurate. There's 2 that are really that we use in the near term. This will keep those showers that I was showing you here around Morganton over to Taylorsville. Yesterday we had this activity. Some showers really remains until about 9, 10 o'clock, and then they spent themselves out and they started to re-trigger. So I think that's the deal that we're dealing with. Right along the Tennessee border, we're looking at some scattered rain, but then 2 o'clock, that's usually the magic hour here in Charlotte that we start to develop some activity. It's going to be most widespread in 2 locations. Along the Tennessee border for the high country and the mountains, and southeast of Charlotte. It's in this zone that we're seeing the most numerous showers, but we will see a chance for some isolated activity really after 2 up until about 6. Beyond that, yeah, you still have a chance for a stray storm, but there's not as many that are going to be around the 45 loop in general in Mecklenburg County. And then through the overnight, a stray shower is going to be a possibility, but nothing really too widespread. Then let's do it again. Rain chances tomorrow. I think we hold off for most of the day for Charlotte, but not so much if you live in Hickory and Statesville. I think you could see rain as early as noon. This is going to be another slow-moving system where we could have some heavy rain, but it's really by the end of the afternoon to the evening, we have some more slow-moving storms. Chance for, of course, an isolated flash flooding event, but then also a strong thunderstorm is going to be a possibility. Nothing really outside the norm or the usual pop-up showers and storms. And then later on Friday, I think it starts early to mid-afternoon, heading into the evening, you're going to have a chance for more scattered activity. If I were to pick our most active times for storms, I think it's Thursday evening, Friday afternoon, and then Saturday and Saturday evening, where Saturday I think has the best chance for more widespread activity. But look at our temperatures after today, 95 to 97 through the weekend, and next Wednesday could even be close to around 98 degrees. So yep, the heat continues. Certainly well above average. Majestic, traffic above or below average?
I think probably right on spot. Nothing too big that's majorly slowing people down, but it's still busy out there, that's for sure. It's 8:49 if you're getting ready to head out the door. This is I-77 here. Mild start to the day weather-wise as we're looking at my live traffic map. You can see it is busy, that's for sure. Let's talk about this crash. It's on Shopton Road near Limehurst Place. This is out towards Lake Wiley. Earlier we saw this really backed up with a lot of orange. By this point, I think they got the car off to the side and traffic is able to flow right along it very smoothly by this point, so making some improvements. This one here, the turning lane is now blocked because of a crash. It's on South Boulevard northbound at Tremont Ave, so continue to keep that in mind if your morning commute typically takes you that way. Just to the east of that though, remember this is still a blocked road here. It's East 4th between Queens and Charlottetown as crews continue to fix power lines. There was an accident there yesterday and it took down those power lines, so now they're just fixing it. You can see the purple is where the lane is actually closed, the road, and then just off to the west, quite busy, a lot of orange here, so definitely your best bet this morning would just to take Elizabeth Ave. And then we have this new accident. Actually, it's a stalled vehicle that just popped up on Briar Creek Road and Commonwealth Ave. Look at all of that backup. I mean, this is going to slow you down. They have it at about 5 minutes right now. Otherwise, if you're coming in from Independence, you might as well pack some breakfast with you. Look at this. This is really slowed down. Nothing too out of the ordinary. We'll have another check on our drive times and my maps all coming up here in just a few. Kaylin.
All right, Majestic, thanks. If you still have a summer vacation planned, experts have a reminder this morning that your vacation checklist is more than just what you're bringing with you.
It's also how you leave your home as well. WCNC Charlotte's Tanya Rivera walks us through what you should do before heading out of town.
So, it doesn't have to be a catastrophic leak. Even if it's a small leak, you have hardwood floors and you're gone for a week. Now you need new hardwood floors. Turning water off is a great preventative measure to prevent problems, right? A potential problem that can happen. If for some reason you're not able to shut the water off to the house, before you leave, go do a check, a visual check. Just open up the cabinets underneath the sinks and stuff. Just make sure there's no drip, anything of that nature that you're walking away from. So at least do that much to protect the house from water damage.
The vacation checklist, it is much more than what you are taking with you. It is how you leave your home. So first and foremost, turning off the water can really keep you from coming home from a vacation mess. Stopping the mail or asking a neighbor to pick up packages is a good security measure. And then this one right here, turning up your AC. Should you turn it off? No, not off, but you need to turn it up. In fact, Tom Garcia from Southern Evergreen says bump it up to 80 to 82 degrees. Do not turn it off because the moving air draws out the humidity. You don't want, the mold to grow while you're gone on vacation. Timer lights are another really good safety measure. And then cleaning out the fridge. I mean, it keeps you from a stinky surprise.
If you have something in there, vegetables, whatever, that goes rotten while you're gone, it is really hard to get those smells out of refrigerators because all the insulation in there. So clean out the fridge. Don't forget about your garbage disposal if you have one. Flush it through.
And the old trick of asking your neighbor to park one of their cars in your driveway, that doesn't hurt either to make it look like someone is coming and going from your home.
All right, good reminders there. From fan favorites to surprise contenders, the 2025 Emmy race is officially underway. Leading the pack is Severance with 27 nominations. Coming in second, The Penguin with 24 nods. The Studio and The White Lotus are tied for third, each scoring 23 nominations. Returning hits like The Bear are also back in the spotlight, earning 13 nominations for its third season. The 2025 Emmy Awards are set to air September 14th.
Watch The Penguin. It was good. I don't know that I would put it in the same caliber of some of those other shows.
Okay.
And then I am a big White Lotus fan, so those are ones. Severance, I saw one episode the first season and then lost interest.
You gotta keep it going.
But by all means, people rave about it, so I'm sure
I like the White Lotus with you.
Yeah.
That one I just got to keep on watching and watching. I'm like, what's going on? And I'm still confused.
And Chris has a 3-year-old at home, so he hasn't seen any of them.
Yeah, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, or Spidey as I call him. Yeah, big fan of that. So yeah, no, I haven't seen any of those, but it's on my to-do list.
On your watch list,
Yes.
for sure.
In 15 years.
15 years. That's right. Can't wait to see Severance.
I'll wait. We're going to take a quick break here, but keep it on WCNC Plus. Here's a live look inside the Live Impact News studio. Our producer, Carlene J. Monreal, also getting ready for more breaking news and headlines to bring them right to you right here on WCNC Plus. But before that, we're going to have another quick check of your weather and traffic. Keep it here on WCNC Plus.
A developing storm right now here around Morganton, so expect a few of these in Caldwell and Burke County. I would say really over the next couple of hours. Those will fade out, and then we see more storms up in the mountains. That's really the mountains and southeast of Charlotte has the best chance for storms. If I were to say a window for Charlotte, it's really between about 2 and 6. Still some heavy rain, active lightning, and some gusty winds can always form from that. 7-day forecast. Every day has a chance for storms. Every day is hot and humid, but outside of today, we're in the mid to the upper 90s. So a surge of heat, especially through the weekend. Best chance for rain really looks to be Friday and Saturday in the near term. Majestic, what's going on?
All right, good morning, everyone. If you have someplace to be this morning, well, the good news is we aren't seeing anything that's majorly backing up a ton of people. Some smaller accidents, though, that are still ongoing. Want to let you know about this one as we still have a lot of red there. You can see a stalled vehicle is making for a backup on Briar Creek Road at Commonwealth Ave. You can see it right there. So that delay is about 5 minutes this morning. Another one, the turning lane is actually blocked because of a crash. It's on South Boulevard northbound at Tremont Ave. Hope you have a great rest of your morning.